Hey, I'm good, Roy. How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. Pretty excited about what we've got cooking here. And I know that there's a number of other people that are excited to see what we've got going on. The teaser you threw out yesterday was pretty cool. And so why don't you just grab it and jump in?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So, we, we've been waiting to unveil our new our second act here, and here it is. So, Chrysalis is the new brand and the new platform that we're going to be going forward with. We're transforming assets. And unlocking the potential of your digital portfolio and unleashing real world assets to our community and going forward. So with that said,
Shad, I like the name Chrysalis, and I like kind of the direction that it's going. You want to dive any deeper into the reason behind the name?
Yeah, so chrysalis is the cocoon, that the worm crawls into and basically transforms into a butterfly and or a moth and comes out, and it's the metamorphosis of kind of that, the evolving of a species into something new. And so we like that, symbolism, and we like the idea of kind of emerging. It was part of post-sec, kind of spreading our wings, rising from the ashes, the phoenix, so to speak. But that was quite, that's been used quite a bit in the Web3 space. So we eventually landed on Chrysalis, but it's about transforming assets, and it's about the reemerging of what we've built together as a community from Δեպ박스 and transferring to Chrysalis. So we like it. I hope everybody else likes it. It's it's one of our digital platforms. Well, there will be multiple digital platforms, but this is our original digital platform.
Well, the other thing I like about it, Shad, is that it's kind of the incubator, right? The Chrysalis is kind of the incubator for the butterfly and that process of transition. And so as we start to bring additional projects on, they'll have that opportunity to eventually evolve into their own L2 project and kind of stand on their own.
Yeah, exactly. So it's our incubator. It's a good summarization of it for our L2 projects, and when we start to bring those on, we'll get to that in a little bit later in the presentation. But yeah, absolutely, and that's the point. The point is, we're tokenizing, using our innovation to tokenize and to bring worthy projects to the Web3 space, and continuing to grow our community and spread our wings and expand. And again, the symbolism of the butterfly and the newness of it emerging is something that's kind of fit our story. So with that said, we're evolving the revolution here and continuing forward with what we began. So, we want to democratize, these revenue streams and be able to help people, participate in some of these projects and some of these industries that they haven't had the ability until now with blockchain technology going forward, that they haven't been able to participate in. So, been reserved for a coveted few, and we're now breaking down those walls and those barriers of entry and giving people the opportunity to participate in a lot of these different commodities and different industries. So with that said, this is our ecosystem. This is our 7 projects that are legacy projects. There are more to come. Going forward, our core values are innovation, transparency, our sustainability, accessibility, decentralization, and responsibility. And, the sustainability really comes with with one of our other platforms that we've developed with Promax, which is the Earth Exchange, which is, going to kick in a lot of doors at a country level. As everyone's well aware, I was just in Indonesia signing a deal with that government. There are many other governments at the table through not only our efforts, but also our partners' efforts in the UAE, and with the handoff of the COP28, the Conference of Parties that was held in the UAE last year when we originally unveiled the MVP for the Earth Exchange, and now going into Azerbaijan for COP29, and there being that very strong relationship between those two governments. There's many exciting things happening with regards to that platform. We have a third platform that is coming and already has a pledge of over $1 billion in assets to that particular platform that's being built out now, and will be our third digital platform. And we're excited about that. So everyone can stay tuned for more announcements that will be coming shortly about that platform and what it will be able to do and what it particularly focuses on. But we're very excited about that. And then we have a fourth platform that will be coming probably towards the end of this year or early 2025, which is being built now as well and has been in the works for some time. But it's a little bit premature to talk about that fourth platform, but we will eventually have 4 digital platforms, and they all do very different things. But the ecosystem will continue to grow and expand, and with that will come the opportunity to attract a lot of new and fresh eyes to what we're doing at Chrysalis and what we've set out to do, and the evolution of how we're going to build this community and continue to attract many more people to our movement and continue down the path of our core values. Innovation is at the core of what we do. At Promax Digital, we're always looking for the next best technologies. Everything is based around technologies, and those that stay on the cutting edge of technology and continue to curate and build the technical revolution are going to win and win big. So this is all about us and our partners bringing together the latest and greatest of the technologies that we can to our digital platforms, and creating opportunities for our movement members to participate in and be able to earn real world value. So that I'll go to the next slide. So the transformation has begun. Δẹp박스 is turning into Chrysalis. Here at Chrysalis, we're thinking outside the box. So everything is about to change, and for the better. So the debt token will transform into Chris, serving as the ecosystem's new utility token, and will act as the gateway for access to the Chrysalis digital platform and its token rewards projects.
Schad, that's gonna roll out first on PancakeSwap, and then will be accepted in some other exchanges. Do you want to cover any of those exchanges now, or you want to wait to unveil those at a later date as well?
Yeah, we're going to save the exchanges. We're going to first consolidate a little bit. We don't see the need to be on some of these tier 5 and tier 4 exchanges any longer. We've kind of evolved and proven ourselves that we've got the staying power. In the beginning, it was, a credibility issue to be on multiple exchanges, but we're now trying to focus more on quality, not quantity. So there's many different discussions going on with tier one exchanges that are interested in working with us for a varying number of reasons, but part of it is because of the varying platforms that we're bringing to reality and to bear. Earth Exchange is essentially an exchange and a marketplace unto itself, and with that continual movement, there are a lot of different exchanges, tier one exchanges, that want to be involved and want to potentially have association with a carbon exchange. So we're leveraging that, and it's giving us the ability to have some very high level discussions with all the tier one exchanges, which we're really excited about. And also too, will serve our purpose in the future when we want to list new tokens and have preferential treatment, because we're going to be either strategically partnered with these exchanges, or we'll be doing varying types of promotions with them and cross promotional activities on our different platforms, including all of our 7 legacy projects. So
and
it's
that's
really exciting.
That transition from debt to Chrysalis, Schad, that will be an exchange on the tokens. They'll be swapped, right?
Yeah, 1 for 1. So there's no right now. There's all the value will remain the same. It'll just be an equal swap regardless of what the price is. When we actually do the transition from debt to Chris, and there's we have really no plans in the immediate future to change anything. So we're just going to get through this. We're going to get through this transition and the rebranding, and kind of turn the page on the past, and get down the road on the future of the Chris platform and the Chris community.
So Schad, one of the questions that I hear, from time to time is, why rebrand? What's the kind of the purpose behind rebranding? I know you and I have had some conversations about that, but people ask, this is the only company that's had the success with regulators that we have. Why would you rebrand?
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate because as everybody liked the branding in the beginning, it's sustained too much damage. Unfortunately, SEC drug us through the mud, and again, it's very difficult to turn the page on the past, talking about strategic relationships and talking about strategic partners, working with the heads of countries on different platforms, and the association, regardless of whether we were in the right or in the wrong. We were in the right. We weren't selling unregistered securities. And again, we firmly believe that we were doing everything the way we should have been doing it. Unfortunately, the SEC didn't see it the same way. So it's just time. It's time to turn the page on that. It was very traumatic for everybody, and we just need to get past it. So we're not looking through the rearview mirror anymore. We're looking through the windshield. And we're just going to go forward. And it's now time for a little bit of a facelift. So Chrysalis is it, and it fits our philosophy and our strategy and our strategic positioning a little bit better than the debt box did. And again, I think it's just it's about transformation. It's about growing. It's about continuing to rise. All these things. So it's a way for us to finally close that chapter and move on in the next step of our journey together with our base, and continue to grow what we're doing.
Yeah, and as we round the corner here with the rollout of Chris, we'll be able to come out with kind of the process and the method in which that exchange takes place as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've had our technical challenges and, from the beginning and this is not abnormal for any, any company that's trailblazing or doing something innovative and new. We're going to try to make it as painless as possible for the community to be able to swap their tokens and be able to exchange their debt for Chris at the appropriate time. So yeah, there'll be very comprehensive instructions on what to do. And again, as you well know, we're trying to make it as painless as possible for the community to be able to comply with what's going to be needed to make that happen. But we're excited about that because it also ushers in kind of a new chapter in our journey and the exchanges that we're talking to and the people that we're talking to and the partners and all of the exciting things that we have and we've been working on. Everybody's excited about getting past the history of this and moving on to the next chapter in the journey.
Yep. So let's talk about how it works, Schad. Let's hit that next slide you've got.
Yeah. So building a dynamic portfolio, obviously it's nothing new to the community. It's our utility token Chris is going to be the center of our universe and everything is going to flow through it for now. We'll continue to have the ability to mint our NFTs. We'll be coming out with a new pricing scheme that's similar to our origin, but a little bit different and a little more realistic from a standpoint of where we think the value is today for the projects. And again, we're licensed and regulated in Abu Dhabi. And so we don't have those restrictions outside the United States. So we're going to continue to push forward on being compliant and making sure that we're following all the rules in the jurisdiction from which we're operating and how we're doing what we're doing. We're also, as we've stated in the past, we decided to build our own NFT marketplace because we want to preserve the safety for our community and the assets of our movement members and the ability for them not to have to necessarily expose themselves to unregistered or unregulated marketplaces. It just comes, it's fraught with a lot of security issues. And again, there was a time where, people were getting scammed and people were getting, their wallets emptied, and it was just, it's heartbreaking. And it's very, very frustrating because, the bad guys are out there and they continue to come at the platforms that have value. And again, it's just, security and safety is, of the utmost importance to us. So we want to make sure we protect our movement members and community members and, build our own ecosystem and continue to vertically integrate and not have to expose people to third parties as much as we can avoid it. So with that said, the legacy minting will begin. That's probably it's probably going to start in the month of September, August. We're going to use as this rebranding and transitional period. There are new smart contracts being written now that hopefully will be finished as close to the beginning of September as possible, so that we're able to completely move off of the legacy tech and be able to operate our Chris platform from our seats, and then basically continue to grow it from there as we move towards the L1. So obviously the L1 is the goal that That process has been a few years in the making. Unfortunately, with a year-long hiatus that was forced upon us, we lost some momentum and time, but we're trying to make up for that as quickly as we can, and we're hurtling towards that, and it's very exciting. And there's some additional information I'll share on this with you about that, but that's the goal. The goal is to get to the L1, and in the meantime, legacy minting will begin probably within the next, hopefully 30 days. And we'll be able to get back on track and expanding our community and continually, bringing new people into our ecosystem and showing them what we're all about.
So Shad, something that can be expected, I guess, going forward here is that, we'll have a website and a DApp that will be presented so that people can get information. They don't necessarily have to log in through the DApp to get the information that they need. They'll have a website to visit to see about Chrysalis, what Chris is, and so forth. But as they progress forward and want to access the information or collect the rewards and so forth, they'll go through a DApp as well.
Yeah, it's our DApp. Obviously, we developed it. We developed the former DApp as well. When the decision was made in V1 to V2 that we wanted to get away from the phone app and become more decentralized, so we will continue on that path. There's many things that are being contemplated with regards to our technology platform, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But for the most part, yes, we tried to keep, as you can see in this presentation, we tried to keep the website super clean. Very straightforward. Hopefully it's intuitive to people. We're not trying to clutter it or make it, unintuitive or for people that are beginners or that are new to this industry, because there's quite a few people that are new. Obviously it's growing all the time, but the vast
you get that with the emerging technologies always. So
the vast majority of the people are new to this industry. The people that are familiar with it are in the minority for sure. So, but as that grows, we're trying to move and adapt and help people along. Education is always good, and information is key. So we try to keep this design super straightforward and clean. We're really happy with it, and we're really excited about it. So again, these are our projects, and again, we'll be shortly, and at the appropriate time, we'll have some new projects to breathe some new life into the ecosystem. But those are very exciting. We'll save that for another live, and when we get to that stage. But these are the projects that we're focused on right now, and that will be going forward. So now I'm to basically our ecosystem, and well, maybe I'll go back real quick, and I wanted to give a little bit of a synopsis about these projects, and update everybody or reiterate or re-go over some of the milestones that we've made. There's been some announcements. I mean, this constantly comes up in the chats about more information, which a lot of it has already been announced, but I'll just go over some of the highlights of the project. So with aluminum, our local partner in Ghana entered into an expanding role for the commercialization of aluminum production in the country, and that agreement was signed at the beginning of this year. So that's going to increase Ghana's capability through our strategic local partner to produce more aluminum capacity, which is going to ultimately, support our buy and burn mechanism, and is going to positively contribute to the token economics in the design. Our DLG project, as we announced probably 2 months ago, we've entered commercial production on one of the mines, and we've broken ground on the second mine, and we're in the process of getting that project up and into production. There's a third and a fourth now that we're contemplating and still negotiating on, yet to be done, but I'll be headed to Ghana soon to hopefully do a full round on all the projects and get some content and video and pictures and updates for everybody on that. And but the current mine that we have production coming out of is really exciting. It's coming out at 23.36 carats straight out of the ground, which 24 carats is the highest. So this is very pure gold. We're obviously in the right places and excited to continue to expand that, which will be reflected in the burn notices. I also think it's important to mention, because this continually comes up, about royalties. And again, the royalties have always been there. There's 4 mechanisms that the royalties are affected. And again, that's pinned in the announcement. And I've shared it with a number of different community members over the last few weeks. And the breakdown of the mechanisms for the burns and the royalties are not going to be singled out. They'll always be represented through the burn notices. But one of the things that we have decided to do is to start quarterly, comparing the burn notices from the past and being able to show increases or decreases or unchanged amounts of the burn, so that people can gauge for themselves the progress on the projects. And again, these are longer term projects, so unfortunately they just don't have the daily, weekly, monthly announcement capabilities, because these are longer term projects that go. And so it's more of a longer time horizon, which we've always professed from the beginning. And so that will continue how we do it. But we think by adding a quarterly, burn comparison on kind of the history of where it's been and where it's going will help keep people informed about the projects. I'll also too say that I've recommitted now to a monthly newsletter, whereby we'll be distributing that. You'll be able to go onto the Chrysalis website and sign up for the newsletter, and there'll be a monthly project update for everything that we're doing. And if there's no update, it'll state that it's basically status quo, but it'll be there, and people don't need to continue to ask for updates. They'll just be provided. So we're hoping that will basically be a little bit more transparent to the community and help with people's ability to stay up on the latest and greatest of what's happening. So data center mining is being reinitiated. Unfortunately, all these projects, with regards to what happened with SEC, caused us to have this almost year-long hiatus. And but over the last 2 months since the case was dismissed, we've been busy reinitiating our strategic relationships with our partners. A lot of people were standing on the sidelines waiting to see what happened or what was going to happen. And now that that's that outcome has been achieved, we're back in business and we're moving forward again. Obviously, this is a bit of a machine. It's not like a button or a light switch that we flick and it just happens. So we appreciate the communities and the movement members' patience on our ability to get things back up and running and back up to full speed. But we're very busy doing that. Data center mining has entered into a land lease agreement for some strategically placed property near some of our NatG operations, and we'll be utilizing and will truly be demonstrating the ecosystem on how some of these projects overlap with one another and benefit each other by providing very favorable rates, electricity rates to run the digital mines that we're in the process of getting back up to speed. We've also signed a new strategic partnership with a digital mine company, and more information will be coming out about that. but we're basically back on track to get that started, and we've got the location arranged, and we're in the process of moving forward and building the first 2 digital mines, with hopefully many, many more to come. So that should be pretty exciting. Obviously, with the strategic relationship between data center mining and NatG, essentially data center mining will be paying NatG for the natural gas that it uses to run the miners and the digital mines. So that will be positively affecting NatG's tokenomics. And again, it's a benefit to DCM because it's getting very favorable energy rates. And we all know in mining Bitcoin, those who do it with the lowest energy cost win. So that's a really good demonstration of the ecosystem at work. Again, both NatG and BGLD in Ghana, signed a historic onshore agreement, exploration and production agreement for the work that we did in Jamaro district in the Western region. And as we've said and announced, that completely separate to what we're doing, there's been a first phase commitment from international companies to come in and spend $60 billion in that district, developing a multi-phase infrastructure project for the refining of crude oil and for the distribution of natural gas. So, our little project that we started 38 months ago, we obviously are in the right district.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With regards to having that kind of vote of confidence from the international oil and gas community, pledging that amount of resources to building infrastructure there, I would think it's common sense that they agree that there's a lot of oil and gas there. So it's very exciting. I was a bit surprised that the community didn't really pick up on. Some of them did, some of the people did, but not everybody. And again, it's a specialized industry, and if you're not familiar, you're not familiar. But the fact that other international companies have now come in behind us and committed $60 billion, the first phase being a $12 billion commitment, which was signed with the Ghana government in the exact district that we're in, says a whole lot. Says that, hey, what you guys started with XPLR and the work that we did there in the development of this oil and gas field is going to be massive, and is going to pay dividends for many, many years to come. So we're extremely excited about that, and our hats off to our local partner Menson's in Ghana about this. They've done a phenomenal job, and this is historic. It's never been done before. So again, really, really excited about that. In addition to that, we've made some progress on the agriculture as well. We mentioned before that Minate Green, our local partner in Ghana, who are basically in the northern and upper eastern regions, have now started to not only continue to process and grow cash crops with soybeans, organic soybeans being the biggest, but rice and cocoa beans. There have been some progress made in strategic development of processing facilities for both soybeans and for cocoa, which increases the amount of revenue that will be coming through and will positively impact the token economics of Grow. There's a lot of really exciting things happening around Grow that we'll reserve for a future announcement and live, but some really good things happening there. And then based on the work that was done here in North America and also in Africa, XPLR is due receivables from these projects for the exploration work that it was able to successfully conduct. And again, some of that is reliant upon production starting for some of these projects, but XPLR being the one of our 7 projects that's more like a service than it is like a product or a raw commodity, there is good momentum there as well, and there are multiple projects that are beating down our door that we're considering for XPLR, including not limited to an internal capability through our partners at Promax, which XPLR was just awarded the monitoring and reporting contract for Earth Exchange. So through the satellite technology, XPLR will be conducting a lot of the surveying work that's done for Earth Exchange, and we'll be receiving, royalties from that. So there's, again, the ecosystem at work, and you're seeing two of the digital platforms are now crossing over on one another, benefiting each other. And so that's another exciting development that's taken place that we can share. Again, that's going to positively impact the token economics. So while we wait for the production of these oil and gas fields to get up and running. So that's kind of where we are as far as our legacy projects. Let's go straight into the ecosystem and more information about our layer 1 protocol. I'm extremely excited about this. This has been a long time coming, and the momentum has picked back up again here, and we're moving as quickly as we possibly can to get to the layer 1, because the layer 1 holds a lot of the value for our ecosystem and will obviously be very key in our L2 strategy. So with that said, I need to clarify a couple things just for the purpose of this presentation. Tokens can be, the word token is used pretty liberally in the Web3 space, but can mean a number of different things. It's not, a token is not just a coin, or it can be an NFT, pardon me, or it can be an image, versus a dynamic NFT that we believe that we created and founded with regard to our projects. These are non-fungible, which means they're unique, right? And when they're unique, they're individual. Essentially, they're not fungible, meaning like
not exchangeable, not interchangeable with others.
Correct. So like the transition from debt token to Chris token, that's fungible because 1 for 1 is equal to, right? An NFT is unique to that individual holder, right? It's got its own unique ID. And so, and that is sometimes called a token. So,
and unique properties, unique rewards, unique value.
Yeah, there's many different things that an NFT or a token can represent. So it gets a little bit confusing, but we need to make that distinction, and there's a reason why, which will be coming here in a minute. But so what makes our L1 special, right? What differentiates us from everybody else? Well, we are the future of blockchain architecture, and I can't stress this enough. I mean, our L1 is, and our protocol is very different than anything that currently exists. Traditional tokens in various architectures, including blockchains, are defined by single or limited sets of instructions that these tokenomics or the blockchains are limited to. Our layer 1 is not limited to that. We combine many different attributes within our process, which is instructions, data elements from multiple nano chains, and also our functioning is modular and can be customized. So it really provides a lot more flexibility than what any of the existing popular blockchains have. Some of those being Ethereum, Solana, even the Hyperledger, right, which was developed by IBM. These are limited, and again, they're not the future of the blockchain architecture. And in fact, there's a lot of limiting factors that are starting to be realized by these existing blockchains, only because, again, it's an emerging market. Nobody kind of had done it before. And so with the popularization of them, there are many different challenges that are coming down the pipe that a lot of the developers didn't realize or weren't counting on, that they're having to contend with now. But our layer one is easily tailored to whatever the project is that its requirements call for or need. And so that's going to give us a competitive edge over all the current existing blockchains that are out there. So we categorize there being 3 types of tokens. And again, tokens can mean coins, or they can mean NFTs, or they could mean something that's essentially non-fungible, right? So there's a process token, which is essentially the management and control of a process. So that process could be one of many things, but our tokens being able to be programmed and smart allow for more flexibility with regards to different types of industries and projects. So we allow for complete flexibility with regard to a process token. And then there are asset tokens, which more people are familiar with, right? Which is just like, a Loom, BGLD, or XPLR. These are tokens that represent a store of value or ownership of something that you hold in the digital space. And then there are what we call exchange tokens, which are essentially functions and controls that provide data and the management of transfers or the exchange of information, such as a sale or a purchase or a security or a commodity, and other different types of assets, which will play into our ecosystem down the road. That's one of the other digital platforms I mentioned earlier, the 4th digital platform that's coming. So why is any of this relevant to us? Well, it's relevant because our flexibility and our technology allows us to essentially, go into some industries that haven't been approached before and haven't really been built out yet. So there's still, very virgin ground for us to go in and start having conversations about tokenizing real world assets or tokenizing real world revenue streams that have not been able to be utilized in the past. So our layer one creates a better way of ensuring the integrity and the security of what we're talking about, and being able to essentially be a little bit more nimble and light. A lot of these traditional layer one protocols all run on a single ledger, so they're becoming very data heavy, and they're slowing down the networks. And so this is one of these examples that weren't originally contemplated, that's now coming to bear, because these expanding ledgers are becoming very cumbersome and are requiring more data storage, with all having 100% of the transaction histories have to be there for it to function properly. And so this is becoming a problem. In short, we have our own way of solving this double spend or the forgery of tokens. And again, what that allows us to do with the witness, observer, user, and the time is mean that we're much faster and safer than traditional blockchains. Reason for this is because they're sequential. We are non-sequential. And so what does that mean? That means that the sequential means that elements have to go in an order to function properly, which makes that process eventually inefficient. And just imagine how many transactions are happening over Ethereum on a given day, right? It's massive. So there's a certain amount of latency that's associated with that platform, which slows it down, hence the need to increase the gas fees. we're non-sequential. We don't need those elements to fall into a specific sequence to actually perform. So those elements from our chain or our nano chains can happen independently, and then when they all fall into place, the function is triggered. So that's another thing that really separates us from these traditional blockchains, which is going to give us a huge edge. They have fixed security. They have to rely on exactly what is currently available in the marketplace as far as security protocols are concerned. Us always being very, very cognizant of security and safety, our features are scalable in complexity. We don't have to apply the same type of security protocols for every piece of information that we transfer over our protocol. So we can emphasize deeper encryption or deeper security on certain aspects of it. An example of this would be like protecting your phone number doesn't need to be as encrypted as protecting your bank account number, right? Obviously, there's certain information that's more valuable than others, and different levels of security, should and would apply, hence freeing up the network to be more efficient and move quicker. Part of that, which makes us, quite a bit different, is our ability to have not only core ledgers, but subledgers or nano ledgers, or being able to use portions of ledgers and not full ledgers to function, like the last 4 to 5 transactions to create a new block. And this gets into the ability to become much more nimble. We're super fast. We're the fastest existing. We're the fastest blockchain network that exists that we know of, and this has been tested over years, and is currently demonstrating a 10,000% increase with every 1,000 nodes added to the network. So, what does this mean? This means that we're essentially, much faster than the existing blockchains that are out there, which will mean that transaction time and gas fees will be much, much less. This will also give us an unfair advantage over our competitors. And so we're looking forward to bringing that out. This will also attract the best of the best L2 projects that want to launch on our L1. So we're quite excited about that. There's a lot of other limitations that happen, not only in the security, but in the single issuance, the single master ledgers that they have to maintain, and the single party tokenization that they have. So those tokens are essentially, issued and held by one person, and that's its complete functionality. It's a store of value, and holding it is, its ownership. We don't have those limitations. We can have multiple issuers riding on our same L1 blockchain. We can have cross chains. We can have layered chains, nano chains. As I mentioned earlier, we have a core ledger, but we have subledgers and nano ledgers, which allows us to be faster and quicker. While historical blockchains are becoming more bogged down and data heavy, we are the reverse of that. So as more nodes come onto the network, the faster we become, the safer we become, the better our network becomes. And because it doesn't need to be as data heavy, a smartphone can become a node. And again, the larger the network grows, the safer it becomes and the faster it gets. These are all massive advantages that you'll see play out over time, but these are the things that really give us an unfair advantage over the competition. I also think that having the ability to have multiple issuances in regards to our tokens, whether they're NFTs or coins or smart tokens, whatever you want to call them. And I'll give you an example. Imagine buying a fractional ownership of a Bitcoin miner. So you're not buying the full Ant miner, you're buying a portion of it. again, a fractional ownership is essentially at the heart of tokenization. That could be true with any other kind of type of property. It doesn't have to be. It could be something tangible. It could be something that's intangible as well. But imagine an asset token that breaks up the cash flow over a group of people who are sharing the production of a particular oil well. It's generating 10 barrels of oil a month or 30 barrels of oil a month, and that's owned by maybe one or a small group of people in that particular well. Imagine another asset token that allows an individual or a group of individuals to own a particular square meter of earth. And that's set in one of our gold mines. And any of the production that comes out through satellite technology identifying that square meter of earth goes to them directly. Imagine a multi-party token that enables an individual, a group of people to participate in the sales of products that come out of a popular store. All of these things we can do, and they're very possible. With a lot of the historic technology out there, it's extremely limited, and they can't go into these areas. So, again, we're very excited about that coming online. Again, there's legacy applications, as I mentioned before, that will help existing Web3 companies and tokenized projects be better. So we also have the ability to approach existing like-minded organizations that have been running their projects that are already successful, but that want to take the next step and rise to the next level and become, with regards to better safety, integrity, their capabilities, flexibilities, and add another layer to what they've already been able to accomplish. So, with a lot of people out there trying to create blockchain-enabled projects, we're really going to be focused on the quality, not the quantity. And again, Promax Digital, won't work with everybody, but we will work with those that demonstrate serious potential. And not only will our platform transform assets through innovation, tokenization, and benefiting our own utility token, Chris, through the incubation of these L2 projects, or bringing these beautiful butterflies to bear. Like an investment bank, we're also going to be looking to take a piece of all these L2 projects, and being able that ride on our layer one, and being able to be the birthplace of where these successful projects come from. So our platform will act as the transforming difference for projects that are rooted in the same attributes of our real world asset projects, with mechanisms for every Chris movement holder to benefit from. So, and the way that we're going to do this, because it's one thing to say it and it sounds great, but there's always that, well, how are you going to do this? Well, there's been a lot of time and planning and thought put into this. So the process will be determined by assessing the following, criterias. We're going to, define the data and the actions of the L2 projects that we're looking for. So the token types, the immutable data, the token functionalities that are needed for some of these either existing or new projects that we want to consider. We're going to define their process by looking at the internal actors and doing our diligence on the players, and being fully understandable about the inputs and the outputs of whatever the project is that are coming in, and then making sure that the flows for the project, make sense and have the ability to be successful. We're going to establish the rules, meaning, again, the tokens, coins, or NFTs, or whatever they may be, are realistic and make sense. And then understanding the external actors or the audience for these projects that are going to come. And then finally, making sure that we have a clearly defined outcome for each of our L2 projects of what they're trying to achieve and what level they're trying to reach. when these processes and criterias are found and match up with us, we know we've got a winner, and that will be the mechanism and the process of how Promax Digital brings these new projects on and brings them to market. So, with that said, we've got a lot to offer the community, and we've got a lot to offer the Web3 space. And again, we're trailblazing on the cutting edge of technology with our L1 protocol, which we'll do hopefully in not too long, another one of these where I'll be walking you through how the branding of our L1 will stack up against the Ethereums and the Solanas and all these other traditional blockchains. So,
Shad, one of the things that excites me most about this portion of it is the fact that the ledger is not just a sequential ledger. And I know we talked a bit about that, but the fact that this ledger has a master ledger and it's got a core ledger and it's got sub ledgers and nano ledgers that really increase the speed, so that as we add, we're able to increase the speed of the network as opposed to slow it down, like is done with the other blockchain technology that's out there available today.
Yeah, I mean it's revolutionary, and it's quite interesting. I teased this in the community a few weeks ago, and one I can't remember who it was. I wish I could give them a shout out, but one of the folks realized that because of the witness, the observer, the user, and the time, they realized that only 4 nodes need to be present to be able to actually perform, right? And so that individual realized what this thing can actually do, which is, this is an F-22 Raptor versus, these existing, 747s that are currently flying the skies. And what that means is when we set this blockchain free, when we actually release our protocol, as long as there are at least 4 nodes operating at any one time, it cannot be shut down. So that means that essentially the true decentralization of what we're talking about becomes a realistic reality, because there are no one servers anywhere in the world that actually support this blockchain, meaning that once we grow the amount of nodes onto the blockchain, there's no one country, one regulatory agency, one anything that could take this network down. It will continue to live on as long as there's at least 4 nodes operating in the world somewhere. It will continue to function, and that's exciting because, again, we had a real world example of of government overreach here, and we were almost taken out of the game. And again, a lot of these other companies, have to essentially function, under certain type of government, oversight. But what we're talking about is continuing what, Satoshi originally, created, which is truly a decentralized network that nobody controls or owns. That it's completely decentralized for the people and by the people. And the larger it gets, that's why I call this a movement, because it's more of a movement than it is a company. This is not necessarily a company. It's not about one individual or a small group of individuals. This is about a revolution and a movement of blockchain technology that is truly innovative and that has not seen the light of day yet. And we happen to be fortunate enough to have that technology and be able to bring that to bear. So again, yeah, it's very exciting. I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
I can't wait until we get there, because I believe it's going to attract many, many people. And when people realize what this blockchain can do and the flexibility and capability of it, I think everybody's going to want their project on our layer 1.
I totally agree. Now, Shad, one thing that, we've been going here for about an hour, and, I don't want to drag this out too much. I do want to make a couple of comments, and then I want to touch on something that you brought up earlier today when we were talking about the projects that are out there. So a lot of the information that goes back and forth between what we're providing and what we're not providing and what is lacking, I believe could be a bit of a breakdown in understanding what's not understood. I've been back and forth with one of the participants here in the chat for a bit, and it's become a little bit apparent that some of the information they're looking for is not readily available in the industry. It's not readily available by us, being provided by us. Part of which was, part of the reason for some of that is that we've been pretty held down, not able to talk, not really able to communicate the things we'd like to communicate. But some of that information comes through the nuances. For instance, the way that the contracts work for the royalties that are shared out there that come in, that's really in the hands of the contributor based on the contract.
Yeah, exactly.
If let's say corn's being sold, we don't determine when corn is sold by the farmer who's contributing that corn or those royalties on that corn. That's handled by the farmer, and then that rolls through when the farmer decides to sell. So if they've had a rough year and the price of corn's down and they want to dry their corn, store their corn, and then sell their corn later, that royalty comes in when that sale takes place. And so it's not like the supply chain effect. This is very different. Commodities are so different than supply chain. Supply chain is, hey, we're out of water. I need 3 crates of water. Get those crates of water over here so we can put them in the store. Very, very much different than the commodity industry, like pork bellies or oil and gas or corn or beans or anything like that. If they've got a bad year, they've got a bad year. If they've got a year where the price is down, the price is down. If you've got in the oil and gas industry, you may have a field that's down because of an EPA issue. And one of the interesting things about oil and gas is the off-takers won't pick up. You could be 1 barrel short of the minimum that they'll pick up, and they won't pick up for the next 30 days. They won't come until 30 days out, and they don't pay. Some don't pay as much as 60 days out. So they'll do 60 days in the rears or 30 days in the rears or 45 days in the rears, which means that if the field was down and the minimum wasn't hit, then that particular pickup was missed. That's a 30-day window of missed. Then you've got the next 30-day window when they pick it up. They'll pick up the overage. They won't pick up the minimum or below the minimum, but they'll pick up an overage. And then when that takes place, they could be another 30 to 60 days out. And that all depends on who the off-taker is for that particular field. It also has to do with what their contract is, because each jurisdiction has minimums. In a lot of the US, you'll either have a royalty payment that comes out quarterly. If it's anything different than quarterly, that would be due to the contributor deciding to do it at a different time.
Right.
Somebody unmuted. So one of the other interesting things is that some of those jurisdictions require the royalties paid out either semi-annually or even annually. And so,
yeah, I mean, listen, Roy, the reality is that these things are all very complicated and nuanced.
Yeah.
And that's why we continue to say that, the reality for the community is that, you need to pay attention to the burn notices. The burn notices will reflect everything, but it won't single out, whether, the farmer had a good month or had a poor month, or one oil and gas field had a better production or lesser production. So again, and then throwing a year-long forced hiatus into the middle of this entire thing, going into our third year, obviously was a devastating effect. But not to continue to look in the rearview mirror and just look through the windshield is that, we, due to confidentiality agreements that we sign with our local partners, as I call them, or wherever we're doing business, on whatever project we're doing business, it's within their control, not ours. So again, we once they establish that the royalties have begun, then they're not allowed to stop, right? That's one of the contractual obligations of the partnerships that we have. Again, folks have to understand that some of these projects are greenfield projects that are built from the ground up. They're literally, there's, not even a shovel in the ground, all the way to the point of now we're finally getting some traction and some critical mass where producing projects are coming to us and saying, we want you to digitize part of our production. And again, that was always the strategy. That was not possible with, the full weight of the federal U.S. government barring down on our heads, right? And a lot of people, even some of our strategic partners that we were in discussions with or even in contract with, said, we want to just stop. We want to hold on for a second and see what happens here, because we're not necessarily sure that, ΔBox is going to survive. So again, we were challenged with some, very unprecedented circumstances that we're trying to rebound back. But, I will wrap this up by saying that, we're not going to get into, individualizing one royalty project from one industry to anything other than the burn notices, because again, there's 4 mechanisms that contribute. The architecture was designed that way, right, to get us to critical mass. And again, with these 7 projects, there's always been it's always been telegraphed to the community that these are long-term buy and hold projects. These are not going to be get rich quick schemes. So at the end of the day, this is what our philosophy has been. This is what we're going to continue to do. And again, when we strike oil in Ghana and when we strike gas in Ghana and when we start producing, aluminum and so on and so forth, and expand to different countries and continents around the world and continue to do what we've trailblazed to do, then all those people will, they won't care, because they'll see that, look, there's burning going on, and, the token price is just going up. And that's really, at the end of the day, what the vast majority of the community wants, is just to see the token price rise. And again, can't blame them, but, we can't explain all the nuances behind the scenes to everybody, to the point where they're going to understand, because we don't have the time to build this platform or these platforms or this ecosystem or this empire or whatever you want to call it, and continue to stop and educate every single movement holder on movement member on how the oil and gas industry fluctuates, or how the exploration industry works, or how the production of raw commodities work. So at the end of the day, again, it's a movement. There's a philosophy. Hopefully the new website reflects a lot of those things that we stand for and what we believe in. And again, what we need to do now is continue to build and expand our networks and continue to grow. And that's what we're going to do.
So Schad, one of the last things I want to cover, the thing that I'm most excited about, is you had made mention of the possibility of one of these projects becoming its own L2.
Yes. So I will say that one of these projects on the screen now is going to elevate to an L2 project. And what that means is, that means that those NFT holders that are holding that project are going to be very excited, because elevating a Chrysalis project to an L2 project so that it stands on its own is going to be very, very exciting. And they're going to be very well rewarded for it, because they were in at the very beginning. And so, I'll let people, speculate on which project they think is going to be the one that's going to elevate, but it's pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to that. And again, that's always been some of the long-term planning and design that we've had, was to, use the debt box, or now Chrysalis, to incubate some of these projects, and then let them basically elevate to a higher level, and kind of be able to operate on a new at a new level. So yeah, very excited about that. One of these 7 projects is going to elevate to an L2 in the next hopefully few months, and when that takes place, those NFT holders are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Oh, it's going crazy now. People are starting to guess, Shad.
Good. Well, and then this is our DApp. So when you go through, and the DApp obviously looks the same, and it will continue to look the same until such time as we get to the L1. But essentially, that's where we are, and it's exciting times, and we look forward to continuing this journey with everybody. We want to stay positive, and we want to stay focused, and just want to leave you with God bless you all, and thank you for your trust and your support, and we look to bring long-term value to each and every one of you, and Roy and I are as invested in this process as everybody else, so it's our daily work, and we thank you so much for all your support, and can't wait for these things to happen, and be able to demonstrate that this is all going to come to fruition. So again, thank you so much, and we'll see you, and we'll talk again soon. I also will commit to doing more lives, and doing more RWAs in the near future. It's just been an intense time, and we've been trying to get through this. So the month of August is going to be the rebranding month, and then hopefully in September, legacy minting is coming back. So get ready.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody.
Thank you so much.